And here we go, party time once more. Antigua Shipyard. Yes, that's right, Antigua Shipyard, baby. I like it. I really like it, because so far when we've seen a Terran versus Zerg match on this map, it has been awesome. This is a map that allows you to take it a step further, to go into the later stages of the game. And we have Curious starting at the top left as the red Zerg player. It's Startail. Curious, and at the bottom right, starting in blue, ahead 1-0 in this best of 3 matchup, is OGS TheStC. Ladies and gentlemen, you are watching the first round of the Code A of the GSL Code A, sponsored by Sony Ericsson and G-Skill. Thank you very much. Those two, really awesome to have companies sponsoring esport and take so that we are able to take it to the next level. And yeah, we have to see if SSC is able to win this best of 3 series with 2-0, or if Curious is now just putting a foot down and is like, and that's it, my friend, you shall not pass. I want to win this Code A group, this Code A match, not group, but the Code A match, because he was already demoted. He played last week in the Code S and he lost most of his matches. He fell victim to Terran players like Marine King Prime and Alive. And if he wants to stay in Code A, if he wants to get another shot at qualifying for Code S, he needs to win this game. He needs this first round. He's in desperate need of a win right now. Let's put it like this. The STC with the comfortable situation of being ahead 1-0. And he is placing down Engineering Bay. I haven't seen that one in a while. So I like that quite a lot. Forcing his opponent to build a late pool. So this is brilliant. What you basically do as a Terran player, if you know that your opponent is going to start with a 15 hedge, you want to delay that a little bit, just throw off his timings. You start building that Engineering Bay because you are aware that he doesn't have a pool, he doesn't have Zerglings early on, and that delays the expansion for a long time. The Zerg player is forced to get that spawning pool first, his expansion will be delayed and all his timing will go to hell. You will have a cancel, there it is, by OGS TheStC, and then a hatchery attempt by Curious. Already being a new brilliant, if you realize that your opponent in the early stage, it's to you, it's, yeah, well, kind of like 20, 30, 40 minerals, something like that. And at the same time we have the command center for OGS TheStC. Is 1 barrack so far, getting his gas by the way, and 1 overlord trying to get into position to have a look at what's happening, and the overlord will be able to spot that gas, which is one of the main things that you want to know if you face a Terran player and you're a Zerg. You want to know, does he have gas? Is he going for some weird style like a bomber, like Marine King? Two of the players that love throwing Marines at you. They will get that expansion and they will just build so bloody many barracks, and then there will be wave after wave after wave after wave of Marines entering your base, and if you don't prepare for that properly, then you will fall victim to just tons of really cheap Terran units. So those scouting informations are fairly important, and he is aware that there is a refinery, he knows about the tech, and therefore can deduce that there won't be too many Marines anytime soon. We have that factory being placed down, also that second command center with the upgrade to the orbital command, so now the SEC will be able to call down an additional move. Here we go. And move out with that orbital command. There should be probably a bunker being placed at some point. But let's have a look at the main base of this Zerg player first. He's starting at the top left, as I already mentioned, and we have 27 to 26 workers denying the scout, like it a lot, and at the same time expanding. That's one thing that I really like about Curious, that he is focusing on spreading his creep. There are a lot of Zerg players, even if they are in Code S, some of them are still neglecting creep spread, and that is just so important, especially if you're facing Terran. So we have a lot of active creep tumors right now for Curious. He's already using his third queen for exactly that, the creep spread, while getting the evolution chamber, and at the same time researching metabolic boost, getting a bunch of Zerglings out into the field and getting additional drones. So everything's looking pretty easy and pretty nice for Curious so far. His opponent is going to start, that's the bunker that we mentioned at the early stage of the game, by the way, that will give him a little bit more security, a little more safety, and a third base, a fast third base coming up for the STC, which is something that we've seen by a lot of Terran, done by a lot of Terran players on this map. and a lot of barracks. That's 4 barracks for you right there, getting that second refinery. Oh, small Zergling run by. Will the Zerglings be able to take out some of those SCVs? Certainly looks like it. And he was able to kill 4 of them already. A 5th one is going down as well. Not able to sneak into the main base, being killed by those Hellions. There we go, but still definitely worth it. Enough scouting information for him. And I have to admit that what I don't like about the STC's play right now is that he's really passive. He's really passive in these early stages of the game, and there are 4 Hellions out, so he might try to put a little bit pressure on the Zerg player, but I don't think that it will be all that successful, because we are already at the 8:30 minute mark. The 3rd base for the Zerg player is being built, and he already has a lot of gas going for him. He didn't start his tech yet. We'll see that fairly soon, I guess. And at the same time, getting another engine, another evolution chamber. Another evolution chamber, a macro hatchery, as well as the 3rd base. Oh, whoa. Let's have a look in the main base. That could be quite a bailing bust as well. If he's not going to start his tech soon, that might actually exactly what's going to happen. We have upgrades for the Zerg player right now. Armor upgrade being researched. There's that one spine crawler. The Terran player is still trying to put a little bit of pressure onto the Zerg. He has a lot of Hellions already. No blue flame upgrade though. And at the same time, the STC is trying to get this armory into the mix, as well as the starport, to get access to the +2/+2 upgrades. Getting his 3rd base as well. And this is a really weird play by Curious right now. He is still not teching. He's still not teching. I mean, might be no. There is no lair tech. There is no lair tech. It's just relying on this tier 1 unit composition, taking out another SCV, trying to take down those Zerglings. Those Hellions as well. Now we have the lair tech. 10 minutes into the game, he just started teching. Very late into the game. He just was making sure that he was able to get his 3rd up. He has 57 drones, 45 workers for his opponent. And yeah, that's a really good economy going for Curious, delaying his tech and therefore just focusing a little bit on the upgrades that he is researching right now. +1 attack and +1 melee, getting those banelings as well as a lot of additional drones. You can see that in the production tab. He's constantly producing drones right now, trying to saturate all those 3 bases. He's at 63 against 50. And down here we have those 2 engineering bays, researching the +2 attack upgrade. We've seen it in the last game already. STC, one of the players that really focused a lot on the upgrades, and he was way ahead in upgrades on the last map, which was one of the reasons why he was able to take out Curious seemingly effortlessly. So we have him with the Zerg player now with the Baneling upgrade as well for the speed, trying to chew away at those rocks. And he should probably spread his creep even a little bit more. But you see exactly what's happening right now. If you spread your creep as a Zerg player, that's always a good thing to do. But what usually happens is at some point the Terran player will decide that he had enough. He will decide that it's time to move out, that it's time to actually scan those tumors and kill them. And most Zerg players just don't use their 3rd or 4th queen in order to make sure that those creep tumors are being rebuilt, and that's something that Curious does right now, and that I really love about his play. I really like that. At the same time, the STC is still trying to control the map, but with all those Zerglings out, it's kind of getting a lot harder to do that. And we have the Hellions in a beautiful position. That's really smart by STC. What he did right there is just hide those Hellions behind the mineral line in order to maximize his effect and his ability to kill the Zerg's units. We have a 4th base coming up for Curious, and he's researching +2/+2 right away after he finished researching the +1/+1, getting that Spire. He's on 3.5 bases. Let's make that 4 fairly soon against the STC, and I don't really know if I like that. The STC was playing really passive, and it would have enabled Curious to be a little bit more aggressive himself with early Mutalisks, or getting a 4th base a little bit earlier than he decided to do so. The base has been scouted by one of the Hellions. The Hellions already being taken down, but will those Zerglings survive? That's actually a fairly good question, because as you can see, there's that attempted run by... losing way too many of those Zerglings. I don't think they'll be able to do a lot of damage to those Marines. Nope, they certainly won't. 150 supply right now for OGS TheStC, and Startail Curious on 145 is getting into his opponent's economy with the Mutalisks, but with the 2 missile turrets already up, there's just nothing he can do right now. And his base will most probably, it will die. It will definitely die. It's already down to 300 hit points. There we go. And once again, OGS TheStC doing a good job at denying bases of Curious, at trying to keep the Zerg player on a small economy. And yeah, this is a horrible position for Curious to be in now. His upgrades are a lot better than in the last game though, and he still has a decent amount of army supply going for him. But he needs to get ahead in his economy, he needs to get ahead in bases. That's what he tries to do right now by expanding once again at the top right position. 91 army supply against 91, and here we go, the Banelings! Will they be able to do the damage they need to in order to come ahead in this fight? Here we go, once more, Banelings and Zerglings as well as Mutalisks taking out most of the army of OGS TheStC. That was an even trade, I guess, in this encounter. And at the same time, we have already the +3/+3 attack upgrades being researched for the Terran player. So he is really on top of his game when it comes down to researching upgrades and getting his tech done. Researching the siege mode for his tanks now. And for the Zerg player, trying to get aggressive once more with the Mutalisks. He has quite a lot of them, 22 to be exact. He is getting an infestation pit, which will allow him to take to the hive, as well as, of course, getting festers in for those fungals. And a nice save with those SCVs. That was really a close call. The command center was close of being killed, but still alive, trying to position itself into the middle of the map. And as you already have realized, this is a new version of the map where you don't have gold mineral patches. That's blue mineral patches for you, and that's pretty nice, because one of the things that, for example, Marine King Prime loved to abuse quite a bit, if he started at one of the top positions, at the top of the bottom of the position, he would just lift off at the start of the game and fly towards the gold expansion, which we've seen already done on maps like Metalopolis. But on a map like TheStC Shipyard, with those positions that I just mentioned, the gold expansion is actually a lot closer, and therefore that play is very strong. And oh my god, he's actually sacrificing a lot of those Banelings in order to kill that command set. I'm not too sure if that was the wise decision, but at the same time, those tanks are helpless. They are not really guarded by any additional Marines, and now he needs to be careful. Don't approach those Marines. They are already upgraded with 2/2 attack and armor, and you need to be careful. But that was still a really nice thing to do, and at the same time sneaking some Zerglings in, and the Marines down there. That's basically refusing to work. If you do something like that at school, you get an F and you need to leave. So that's a bummer. He lost a lot of SCVs. As you can see, there were 38 workers killed, not only at this position, of course, but also when he was attacking that command center and killing it with the Banelings and exploding in midst the economy line of his opponent. So very well done by Curious in this game in order to get ahead. He's ahead with 50 supply right now, and 158 against 108, and he should probably expand once more. He has that 4th base going for him, but if he's ahead like this, there's no harm in just taking another base, just trying to ensure that you are really in a position where the Terran player can't catch up anymore. He's getting the +3/+3 attack up and armor upgrades for his ground units now as well, and the Mutalisks are still really annoying. They are a pain in the ass, a nuisance to the Terran player, and the STC is in a lot of trouble. That encounter up there was beautiful for the Zerg. He was able to chase away the Marines. The Marines what basically happens with the Marine and tank combination is that the Marines at some point need to play the babysitter. They need to babysit those tanks, but when there are Banelings in the mix, they have to retreat. That's what's happening right there. The tanks are helpless. Way too little tanks against those Marines and Banelings. He can't focus all of them. The Marines have to retreat as the Banelings approach, and then the Mutalisks just take care of the tanks while the Marines have to deal with the Banelings, and this is beautifully executed by the Zerg player. He's Startail Curious, and I'm stuttering right there. I'm really sorry, boy. This air conditioning behind me is really giving me a hard time, a little bit too cold. It's running in cycles and right now I'm freezing. So yeah, sorry for that small blunder, but what I was about to say is that Curious is actually executing that strategy beautifully, and the STC is a lot of trouble, and he should have just gotten that one Thor a little bit earlier. That was one of the points that I mentioned to you in the first game, when you remember, that Korean players for some reason get that Thor really late. And if you have a Thor in the mix as well, you can use it either to protect the siege tank, because you try to draw the attention of the banelings onto the Thor, because he needs a lot of banelings to kill the Thor, and they won't be able to focus on the Marines. And at the same time, the Thor will help you too in order to deal with the muta threat. When the mutalists try to focus down on the siege tanks, then they need to cluster up, and that will be like Christmas coming early for the Thor. So that's one thing that you should do if you realize that your opponent is going for a lot of mutalists. You should get one Thor into your army mix, especially if you go Marine tank. And yeah, OGS the STC, he's trying to put some pressure onto the 4th base at the top right, as you can see already. And he's succeeding in doing so, but he's losing one base himself. There are all those Marines. Will that force be able to deal with the current situation? I seriously doubt it. He needs to manual focus the banelings. He's killing some of them, and here we go. Oh, nice micro by Curious. I like it. He won't be able to repel all of those units, but with the Ultralisks popping out, and now the Mutalisks magic boxing the Thor. He's still in the commanding position, 160 supply against 109. The Thors are no challenge for that many mutalisks if they don't have the support of additional Marines. And here we go again. The Ultralisks take care of the Thor, trying to chase down the Marines as well. The STC still with that expansion in the middle of the map doesn't take the gas just yet. He's just trying to replenish his army with a lot of Marines. Here are the Zerglings with a nice run by trying to take out all those Zerglings, whole position being used, and here come additional Ultralisks, maximum upgraded. They are just so strong, taking down Marines and siege tanks as well. We don't have the upgrade for Adrenal Glands for the Terran players, for the Zerg players so far, which is a little bit of a mistake. You should always get that upgrade if you play in the later stages of the game with a Zergling heavy force. And now Curious is still trying to execute that Ultralisk and Zergling style, but he needs to be careful. The STC is in a bad position, but he's not knocked out yet. He is still in a position where he can start a comeback. He has Thors, he has Marines, he has those medivacs, and now he is commanding an army size of 46, 50, roughly 50 army supply against 79, and with 4 bases he's not out of the game just yet. There are 7 Ultralisks, which is of course something that you really need to deal with, but which is not going to be easy for the Terran player. But still, Curious needs to be careful. He should expand again. He took that expansion at the bottom, at the top of the map, but there are a lot more spots that he should try to set up with another hatchery, but he's going for that attack first. All those Ultralisks just moving in for the kill, taking out Thors and siege tanks alike. The banelings killed the SCVs and the mineral line, and that's the 1-1. Curious tying the series. Very well played by the Zerg player. Love it. Guys, this is exactly what we've wanted to see. We wanted that 3rd game, and we are getting it. This is just going to be a nice day. The series is tied, and for all of you who just joined us, I want to go over the results one more. Yu-Gi-Oh! Against Min0 was able to take that series with 2-1, so Yu-Gi-Oh! Advances to the round 2 of the Code A, as does FXO ASD. He had no problem at all defeating MVP Guinea Pig with 2-0. We are on the 3rd matchup for today. 1-1, the series is tied. We have OGS, the STC, facing his Zerg opponent, facing Startail Curious. The 3rd game will come up in just a few seconds. We will have Calm Before the Storm, another huge map, one of the new additions to the GSL. watch out for another great Zerg versus Terran. I'm Caldo. I'm doing the second stream for you guys today. We don't have any camera feed, sad but true, but yeah, we are just trying to give you as much coverage as possible. I would love to have a second commentator with me, but today you have to make do with me. I'll do my best to give you a good a good cast, and yeah, we're jumping right into the third game. Purus against the TheStC, Zerg against Terran here at the GSL.